What's up, Vikings Nation? The countdown is officially on, because March 11th, 2026 marks the beginning of the new league year. And after 3 p.m. Central Time, the doors swing wide open for free agency. That's when the real chess match begins for our Minnesota Vikings. And trust me, the front office is already working behind the scenes. This is the phase where contenders are built, depth charts are reshaped, and tough goodbyes become reality. Every contract decision, every re-signing, every departure will echo into next season. And if you think this offseason won't define the identity of this team, think again. Today, we're breaking down every unrestricted, restricted, and exclusive rights free agent tied to the Vikings. Who stays? Who walks? And who could shock us all? Buckle up, because this tracker isn't just news. It's the blueprint for 2026. Let's start with Ty Chandler, and Vikings fans know this one feels unfinished. A Week 1 knee injury in 2025 completely derailed what was supposed to be a big opportunity year. After flashing explosiveness in previous seasons, especially during his 4 starts in 2023, he barely got a chance to prove himself. Back in 2023, when he filled in for Dalvin Cook, Chandler averaged 4.9 yards per carry over 4 starts. He showed burst, vision, and that ability to turn the edge. But ball security issues in 2024 and then that special teams injury in 2025 stalled all momentum. Now the question is simple. Do the Vikings believe in the upside enough to bring him back as depth? With 710 career rushing yards and 3 touchdowns, the talent is there. But availability is everything in the NFL. Andrew DePaula might be 39 in July, but don't you dare talk retirement around him. The veteran long snapper laughed off those suggestions earlier this year, and honestly, why wouldn't he? He's coming off 4 straight All-Pro nods. He and Will Reichard made Vikings history in 2025 as the first specialist duo to earn All-Pro honors in the same season. That consistency is not easy to find, and special team stability is something championship teams protect. At 153 career games, DePaula is the definition of reliability. If you're the Vikings front office, this feels like one of the simplest decisions on the board. Fabian Moreau quietly delivered solid value in the secondary. He wasn't flashy, but when targeted, he allowed a passer rating of just 54.2 in 2025. That's lockdown efficiency in limited reps. With 322 career tackles and 7 interceptions, Moreau brings veteran awareness to a defense that thrives on disguise and aggression. Depth at corner is never a luxury. It's a necessity. The question becomes financial. Can the Vikings retain him at the right price? Or will another team value that experience more aggressively in free agency? Speedy Jalen Nailor continues to prove doubters wrong. After battling injuries early in his career, he's now strung together back-to-back full seasons. That durability shift matters. In 2025, he posted career highs with 29 catches for 444 yards and 4 touchdowns, averaging over 15 yards per reception. Behind Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, he made the most of his targets. He just turned 27 on March 2nd. Is he a long-term WR3 solution for the Vikings? Or does he test the market looking for a larger role elsewhere? Matt Nelson's 2025 was unfortunately a lost season after landing on injured reserve shortly after signing. At 30 years old, his 43-game career experience still holds value as depth. Offensive line depth saved this team multiple times last season. Even rotational veterans can become critical pieces overnight. The Vikings must decide if Nelson fits into that emergency depth plan again, or if they look to get younger in the trenches. Jeff Okudah's story remains complicated. The former number 3 overall pick showed flashes in Brian Flores' physical boundary scheme but struggled with concussions, entering protocol twice in 6 games. He finished with 14 tackles and a fumble recovery in 2025. His length and physicality fit the system, but durability is the concern. Is this a classic buy low opportunity? Or do the Vikings move on from another reclamation project? Brett Rippon was quietly important in 2024, running the scout team during a 14-win season. Claimed late in 2025, he barely saw action, going 0-for-1 in limited snaps. He's learned behind quarterbacks like Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, and Joe Burrow during his career journey. That experience has value in a quarterback room. Does Minnesota keep him as developmental depth, or reset the QB3 spot entirely? Justin Skule ended up playing a huge role when injuries hit the offensive line. Logging 578 offensive snaps and 9 starts in 2025, he proved dependable on both tackle spots. He now has more starts since 2024 than his previous 4 seasons combined. That growth matters. Swing tackles are premium insurance policies in today's NFL. Skule may not be flashy, but he's been crucial. Harrison Smith. Vikings fans, this one hits different. The home crowd gave him a standing salute in Week 18, and it felt like a farewell. But just 1 week earlier, he posted a sack and an interception on Christmas Day, earning NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors. That's not a player fading quietly. With 39 career interceptions and over 1,180 tackles, the Hitman has built a Hall of Fame resume. Does he return for year 15? Or has the legend played his final snap in purple? Tavierre Thomas made his mark on special teams, recording 19 special teams tackles in 2025. His value primarily lies there, though he has slot experience from Houston. Special teams coordinators love players like him. Disciplined, fearless, consistent. The Vikings must weigh roster flexibility versus specialized roles when making this call. Carson Wentz stepped in late August and went 2-3 over 5 starts in 2025. His losses to playoff teams were competitive, and he played gritty football before season-ending shoulder surgery. He threw for 1,216 yards with 6 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, completing over 65% of his passes. Not elite, but steady. Does Minnesota re-sign him as experienced depth? Or does the quarterback room look entirely different when the new league year opens? Eric Wilson might have been the surprise of 2025. Brought in for special teams, he exploded into a starting role after Blake Cashman's injury. He finished with 115 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, and 6.5 sacks. Those are impact numbers in Flores' aggressive system. At 31, conditioning won't be the issue. The question is whether the Vikings prioritize continuity at inside linebacker. John Wolford remained a practice squad grinder in 2025, not seeing game action. His last regular season reps came in 2022 with the Rams. He offers experience and preparation value, but roster spots are precious. Is he insurance, or does the Vikings QB room get reshaped completely? Ryan Wright, Mr. Wright, delivered consistency in 2025 with a 49.0-yard punting average. His net average and inside the 20 rate show growth. As holder for Will Reichard, he's also been part of a highly efficient kicking operation since 2024. Special team stability again becomes a theme. Continuity matters. Now let's talk restricted free agents. Starting with Ivan Pace Jr., he burst onto the scene in 2023 and 2024 with relentless energy. But in 2025, missed tackles and coverage concerns slightly reduced his defensive role. His miss rate has steadily climbed since his debut. Do the Vikings tender him and bet on development, or reassess his long-term defensive ceiling? Ben Sims, claimed after Green Bay waived him, contributed lightly on offense and special teams. He's athletic with soft hands, but usage has been minimal. Tight end depth is always valuable, especially in Kevin O'Connell's system. Does he return as T depth, or do the Vikings pursue upgrades? Among exclusive rights free agents, Jalen Redmond stands out as a feel-good story. From spring football to arguably Minnesota's top interior defensive lineman in 2025. He posted 12 tackles for loss and 6 sacks while playing roughly 75% of defensive snaps. That's major production. Expect the Vikings to lock him in. He feels like part of the defensive core moving forward. Bo Richter carved out a strong special teams role and flashed a promising spin move during training camp. His defensive snaps remain limited. In a crowded outside linebacker room, he's fighting for opportunity. Developmental upside versus roster crunch. That's the dilemma. Finally, Xavier Scott represents the culture Kevin O'Connell preaches. Tough, versatile, and persistent, He flashed in 2025 with 114 rushing yards and 98 receiving yards. He's shown he can contribute in multiple phases, and that versatility matters. So Vikings fans, here's the big question. Who do you prioritize? Which names must return? And who are you ready to move on from as the Minnesota Vikings prepare for 2026? The new league year is almost here, and every decision will shape the future of this franchise. Drop your predictions in the comments. Who stays in purple? If you love staying locked in on Vikings news, roster moves, and Minnesota Vikings free agency breakdowns, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with every Vikings fan you know. Skol!